Our top story now on the buck stops here tonight. Shocking pictures that have raised questions as to whether Delhi's police is quite literally still stuck in the Stone Age. Here you can see in these pictures a constable of the Delhi Traffic Police actually picking up a brick and lunging towards a woman commuter in front of her two children. Ramandeep Kaur, who is seen in these pictures, has subsequently told the police that she was attacked with a brick by the police constable because she refused to pay a bribe of 200 rupees. Now, since then, the constable has been both dismissed and arrested. But the larger questions remain. Why is our police so insensitized? And if Ramandeep Kaur is to be believed, is the answer to saying no to a bribe, quite literally, a brick? Is Delhi's police still stuck in the Stone Age? Well, a moment ago, the husband of Ramandeep Kaur, Gurdeep, spoke to us to tell us exactly what happened and what the sequence of events was. गुरदीप जी, सबसे पहले तो आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी कि ये जो तस्वीरें हैं ये पूरे देश ने देखी, बहुत गुस्सा है लोगों में और सबको लगता है कि कोई पुलिस अफसर ऐसी हरकत नहीं कर सकता, जरूर उनको एक तरह से पनिशमेंट मिलनी चाहिए। लेकिन अगर हम ये तस्वीरें देखें तो उसमें पुलिस वालों को कहना है कि जो आपकी वाइफ थी रमनदीप जी, वो भी दिखती हैं, वो भी एक पत्थर उठाए हुए दिखती हैं। तो क्या बात हुई, कैसे इस पॉइंट पर चीजें पहुंची कि उनके हाथ में भी पत्थर है एंड शॉकिंगली पुलिस कांस्टेबल के हाथ में भी एक ईंट है? आप बताइए हमारे दर्शकों को।
मैम, क्या हुआ, ये जैसे स्कूल से इन्होंने अपना रेड लाइट से ये राइट लेने के लिए निकले तो ट्रैफिक वाले ने इसको रोका। इनको उन्होंने बोला मैडम आपने रेड लाइट जंप की है। तो उन्होंने बोला भैया मैं उनके सामने उनके साथ अपना बाकी गाड़ियों के साथ भी आ रही थी, मैंने रेड लाइट जंप नहीं किया। अगर बाई चांस मेरे से रेड लाइट जंप हो गई तो सॉरी, मेरे बच्चे छोटे, मैं स्कूल से आई हूँ और मैं घर जा रही हूँ वापस। तो उन्होंने पुलिस वाले ने बोला नहीं मैम आपको फ़ाइन तो देना पड़ेगा। तो उन्होंने बोला कि कितना फ़ाइन लगेगा? बोला जी 200 रुपये आपको फ़ाइन लगेगा। तो इसने मैडम ने बोला जी आपके पास कागज़ नहीं है? आपने इन्होंने बोला कि ये मेरा लाइसेंस, इंश्योरेंस और पॉलिसी वगैरह, हेलमेट वगैरह सब लगाया हुआ था कि मेरे पास सब कुछ पूरा है। तो इसने हाँ, पुलिस वाले ने बोला नहीं जी आपका 200 रुपये का फ़ाइन होगा। तो इन्होंने बोला कि आप ठीक है मेरे को रिसीट दे दीजिए, मैं आपको फ़ाइन दे देती हूँ 200 रुपये का, वैसे तो मेरे पास सब कुछ पूरा है। तो बोला नहीं मैम आपका चलान ज़्यादा बनता है, आपको मैं 200 रुपये में जस्टिफाई करके आपको बिना पैसों से छोड़ रहा हूँ, मेरे को 200 रुपये दीजिए और जाइए। तो मैं बोला मैम मैं आपको पैसा नहीं दूंगी, मैं अपना घर जा रही हूँ, आप मेरी स्कूटी का नंबर नोट कर लीजिए, लाइसेंस का नंबर नोट कर लीजिए, आप मेरे को घर पे आप इशू कर दीजिए फ़ाइन, मैं घर पे आप आएगा, हम कोर्ट में भुगत देंगे, जितना कोर्ट बोलेगा हम उतना दे देंगे जी। तो बोला इन्होंने बोला नहीं जाने। तो इतने में इन्होंने स्कूटी आगे निकाली कि आप मेरा नंबर नोट कर लीजिए, मेरे बच्चे परेशान हो रहे हैं, मैं जा रही हूँ। इन्होंने पीछे से क्या किया, स्कूटी पे पहले तो लास्ट से स्किट मारी लाइट के ऊपर स्कूटी के, स्कूटी एल बैलेंस हुई तो इन्होंने पाँव लगा के फिर भी स्कूटी संभाल लिया। फिर इसने पत्थर उठाया, पूरा स्कूटी डैमेज कर दिया। पहले जब स्कूटी डैमेज कर दिया तो मेरी वाइफ उतरी, मेरी वाइफ ने इसके ऊपर विरोध किया कि आपने मेरी स्कूटी तोड़ी है तो मैं आपकी बाइक भी तोड़ूंगी, आपने मेरी निजायज स्कूटी तोड़ी, किस बात पे तोड़ी?
तो ये बहुत जरूरी बात आप कह रहे हैं।
जैसे मेरी वाइफ ने इनको रोकने के लिए कोशिश की, इसने दोबारा ईंट उठाई और उनके सिर पे मारने की कोशिश की। इतने में वाइफ पीछे को हट गई और उनके कमर पे ये लगी है
जी।
और उसके बाद में
नहीं, मैं आपसे पूछ रही हूँ, ये आपने बहुत जरूरी बात बोली है क्योंकि तस्वीरों में आप जो पत्थर उठाए हुए रमनदीप जी दिखती हैं, आप ये कह रहे हैं कि पहले पुलिस कांस्टेबल ने लात मारी बाइक को और फिर पत्थर उठा के मारा और स्कूटी डैमेज हुआ। आपका स्कूटी, आपकी वाइफ
जी, स्कूटी को पहले लात मारी स्कूटी के ऊपर, उसके बाद स्कूटी को डैमेज किया। जब डैमेज स्कूटी कर दी उसके बाद में मेरी वाइफ ने इनका विरोध करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन विरोध करने के बाद इसने फिर दोबारा ईंट उठाई और उसने ईंट के ऊपर इसने पीछे से पहले सर में वार करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन वाइफ पीछे हट गई तो उनकी कमर पे लगी वाइफ। इन्होंने आप मेरे इसमें आप शूट में भी देख सकते हो, वाइफ ने इनको कुछ नहीं किया, सिर्फ इनकी वाइफ के ऊपर बोला कि आपने मेरी स्कूटी तोड़ी है, मैं आपकी बाइक नहीं तोड़ूंगी।
तो ये आप समझा रहे हैं हमारे दर्शकों को, ये आप समझा रहे हैं हमारे दर्शकों को कि रमनदीप जी ने पत्थर जो पकड़ी हुई हैं वो इसलिए है क्योंकि पुलिस कांस्टेबल ने पहले पत्थर मारा उनकी 2 व्हीलर पर।
जी, पहले स्कूटी तोड़ी गई है तो उन्होंने, मेरी वाइफ ने भी इनके स्कूटर पे मारने की कोशिश की है, इनको मारने की कोशिश नहीं की, लेकिन इन्होंने पत्थर उठा के सीधा मेरी वाइफ के ऊपर वार किया है
जी। और अब पुलिस कांस्टेबल को तो डिसमिस कर दिया गया है, अरेस्ट भी किया गया है। ये न्याय एक तरह से जल्दी मिला है आपको लगता है ये काफी है?
नहीं मैम, इसको सीधा जेल जाना चाहिए मैम। ऐसे पुलिस वाले को या पुलिस में रहने के, जो पब्लिक में रहने का ही नहीं है। मेरे बच्चे छोटे हैं, साथ में एक 4 मंथ की बेटी है मेरी, एक 7th एज की है और एक 13 की। बाई चांस जिस हिसाब से वो ईंटें मार रहा था वो मेरे किसी छोटी बच्ची के सर में लग जाती तो वो कहाँ से संभाल पाती इस चीज को। जिस हिसाब से पुलिस वाले ईंट पत्थर लेके पीछे पड़ा है, ये कौन से कानून में लिखा कि पुलिस वाला लेडीज के ऊपर ईंटों से वार करेगा?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। और आपके बच्चे तो छोटे, जैसे आपने कहा दोनों वहीं थे, तो काफी घबराए होंगे।
मेरे बच्चे दोनों जो स्कूल बिटिया जाते हैं, दोनों बच्चे घबराई होंगे। मम्मी पुलिस वाले ऐसे मारते हैं, हमारी मम्मी को ऐसे मारा, कल को हमें भी मारेंगे। बच्चों का पूरा मैसूम चेहरा उतरा हुआ है। वो लैब में क्या पढ़ेंगे जिनको अभी से इतनी घबराहट इन्होंने कर दी है सामने।
जी, और आपको लगता है कि बार बार नेता लोग कहते हैं कि भाई हम रिश्वतखोरी बंद करेंगे, करप्शन बंद करेंगे, और आपकी बीवी रमनदीप जी ने तो रिश्वतखोरी के खिलाफ लड़ाई की और अब उनको ये झेलना पड़ा?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मैम, हमने भी घर रखा, हम भी यही काम करते हैं। मैंने इनको बोला अगर तेरे से बाई चांस बाहर जैसे स्कूटी लेके बच्चों को लेने भी जाती है, मैंने भी इनको ये बोला कि आप फैन की रसीद ले लो, जो फैन बनता है आप दे दो, और बाई चांस आपकी गलती होती है। आज मेरी वाइफ ने वही किया, उन्होंने उनको रिश्वत देने से मना कर दिया। उन्होंने बोला मेरे को फैन करो, मैं आपको, मेरे को पर्ची दे दो, फैन आप कितने का कर रहे हो, मैं आपको पेमेंट कर देती हूँ 200 रुपए की। तो वो बोला कि मैं आपको रसीद नहीं दूंगा, मेरे को ऐसे फोन पे 200 रुपए दीजिए और मैं आपको ऐसे छोड़ दूंगा आपको। उसको पैसे ना देने के उस पर उसने इस चीज का ये काम किया है, मारपीट का। मतलब
कि ब्राइब को, फॉर सेइंग नो टू अ ब्राइब शी वाज अटैक्ड विद अ ब्रिक। अब पुलिस वाले आप लोगों को क्या कह रहे हैं, आपके परिवार को क्या कह रहे हैं गुरदीप जी?
मैम अभी तो पुलिस वाले अंदर हैं, अपने उनका बयान वगैरह लिख रहे हैं, लेकिन हमें अभी तक हमें कुछ नहीं बताया कि उसके बारे में क्या एक्शन ले रहे हैं क्या नहीं ले रहे हैं।
जी, आखिर में मैं आपसे पूछूंगी कि पूरे देश में इन तस्वीरों को देखकर आपको क्या लगता है, क्या मैसेज आ रहा है आज?
मैसेज तो यही आता है, मेरे महिला की सुरक्षा नहीं है। अगर ये पुलिस वाले रिश्वतखोरी के चक्कर में ऐसे महिलाओं से मारपीट करेंगे तो किसकी सुरक्षा रहेगी? बच्चे का दिन में निकलना गुनाह हो गया तो रात को तो वैसे नहीं निकल सकते।
जी बिल्कुल ठीक आप कह रहे हैं। कम से कम रमनदीप जी ने लड़ाई की, लेकिन ये जो ये सवाल इससे बहुत गंभीर उठते हैं दैट हमारी पुलिस की सेंसिटिविटी क्या है, और करप्शन के खिलाफ कोई लड़े तो दे आर लिटरली अटैक्ड बाय दोज हु आर मेंट टू प्रोटेक्ट देम। गुरदीप जी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर टॉकिंग टू अस। And now to our debate on the buck stops here tonight. A brick or a bribe? Are those the only two options available to a citizen who chooses to speak out, as happened with Ramandeep Kaur today? Ramandeep Kaur says she was assaulted by the constable because she refused to pay a bribe. Is Delhi's police quite literally still stuck in the Stone Age? Let's introduce our panel this evening. With us in the studio is Kiran Bedi, who's of course a well-known former IPS officer. We're also joined by Maxwell Pereira. He's of course been a former Joint Commissioner of the Delhi Police. And we also have Shazia Ilmi, senior leader of the BJP, and Sharmishta Mukherjee, senior leader of the Congress Party. The Aam Aadmi Party, which is in government in Delhi, refused to participate in this debate. Kiran Bedi, I'll start with you. The constable has been dismissed, but Ramandeep Kaur and her husband Gurdeep say he must go to jail. They insist, because in the pictures you can also see her holding a small stone. They insist that that happened because the constable kicked her two-wheeler and then threw a stone at it, and only then she picked up a stone. But before she could do anything, the constable had lunged towards her with a brick. What should happen to this constable? What's the message we're sending out to the country that's watching these pictures?
Well, the police commissioner has already said FIR registered, man arrested.
But there are larger questions that arise out of what's happening here.
But as far as the legal action is concerned, in fact, he's even been dismissed.
Yes.
Right? So, fact he's arrested is going to be produced before the court tomorrow.
Yes.
With the whatever is the FIR recorded, and then it will be up to the magistrate to decide.
But the image of the police, that somebody picks up a brick because a woman refuses to pay a bribe.
But I would look at it as an act of one head constable. I wouldn't look at it entire Delhi police. I would look at it as an act of one head constable. And as if I were a police commissioner at that time, I would be concerned, why did this man do it?
Yeah.
What is the state of affairs which has compelled him to do it? What's wrong with our training? What's wrong with our supervision? What's wrong with our state of mind? Is he overstressed? Is he angry? Is he greedy? Why has he not improved?
But that sounds like a rationalization somewhere.
No, it's not rationalization. I want to know why. It's not rationalization. How do I correct for the future?
Okay, Maxwell, do you want to join that, and then I'll open it to the two politicians. What do you make of looking at these pictures, and they've gone viral now?
See, nobody wants to support wrongdoing, but at the same time, the first question I asked when I saw this clip, I said, why did he do it?
Yeah.
I mean, is he mad? Is he, you know, sort of lost his balance? And what provoked him?
Yeah.
Is it that is it that I am sending across a message? It's well, get the traffic, provoke a traffic constable when you get a challan.
Yeah.
And then, well, all hell breaks loose.
But Maxwell, some would say,
this is what is worrying me.
But Maxwell Pereira, some would say,
this is what is worrying me.
Both you and Kiran have said what made him do it. Some would say it's the arrogance of authority, of that, you know, at that time that man in uniform feels, bhai, main raja hu. मैं 200 रुपए मांग रहा हूँ, you give me 200 rupees.
I won't accept the arrogance of authority would, you know, get him to pick up a brick and a hammer. I mean, this is an totally, you know, insane behavior.
Insane behavior. Shazia Ilmi, as political leaders in Delhi, we must also remember the fact this was a woman. Sure. This was a woman with 2 small children, yes. And their father is saying that the children are completely shocked and reeling under the shock of this incident. It sure. compounds what's happened.
Sure. So just as you see arrogance of authority, you also see a woman challenging that arrogance, that authority. And for me, that is a heartening picture. Yeah. Of course, having children watch on as onlookers is really unfortunate. But it says something about also people that they're not going to take this anymore. And that somebody recorded it also kind of, you know, stores it for posterity. But I think it's a huge message going down to all cops that they can't get away with this kind of badtamizi, misbehavior. And also showing women, look at this woman who drops her children to school, these girls, and who says, no, I will not pay a bribe. You do whatever. And maybe she tries to pick up the brick, and almost at the same time the cop does.
Their explanation for picking up the patthar is that इन्होंने हमारी bike को पहले kick किया, फिर पत्थर मारा, so I also picked up a patthar and then a brick came towards me. Let's assume that she's got into an argument, this has happened. Maybe she's not done she should have also been calmer. But this is a police constable, he can't hurl a brick at a woman.
But see, this is what I see. While the police has yet to wake up, and while the training and all their socialization and the conditioning and the training is yet to undergo a revamp or whatever, but people have changed, they're challenging. So it's no longer, so while somewhere there is an institutional kind of if I would call it a failure or a deficiency, but people are making up for the alacrity, for their challenging of these ways.
So you're saying this is a woman questioning authority, this is a citizen refusing to pay a bribe. Sharmishta Mukherjee, one of the questions that the Congress raised again and again when you were in power in Delhi, and the Aam Aadmi Party refused to take part in this debate, so I'm asking you this, is who is accountable? Where is the political accountability? Because the police in Delhi does not actually report to the state government, and we've seen Arvind Kejriwal already at loggerheads with the Lieutenant Governor on these issues of authority. Do you think that's part of the problem, that there's no clear political accountability? Because the police doesn't answer to the Delhi government?
No, I really don't think so. Because even this kind of things where state governments are in full control of the police, it happens there also, these kind of incidences. But, you know, I would come back to your original argument that it is a statement of arrogance. And no matter what, you know, we are a democratic society by law, by our constitutions. But somewhere, I think, you know, deep inside, you know, in some people's mind, the feudal mindset is still there. And they think कि वर्दी में हो जाए तो हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. And this is nothing to just do with the police. But, you know, this kind of accountability, I think anybody whosoever is in the public life, whether it's politicians, whether it's police, whether it's bureaucrats, you know, I mean, everybody should be made accountable. You know, starting from the absolute police constable to the PM, everybody has to be made accountable. You know, this is because with authority, with power also comes responsibility.
So let me get the two police officers on this panel into this. You see, it is a statement of arrogance. Shazia says it is actually also a statement of a citizen standing up to the abuse of authority and to corruption. Maxwell and Kiran, do you see it in those terms? Kiran, I'll start with you. Do you see this as a corruption argument that is playing out on the streets, or do you see this as an insensitivity of the police force that's playing out on the streets? What is it?
I think this man probably is habitual. I like to look at this track record. He's looked for an easy victim. I think he's certainly looking for money. And he's looked at as a woman with 3 children and a scooty and thinking, ye 200 de ke chali jayegi. I think he was looking for a victim. So he's probably habitual.
And yet you're saying it's an isolated case, don't judge the police on this.
I would first examine this as an isolated case. But I will also look at my system. Is the system adequately training them? Is the system regularly debriefing them? I would even look at his next senior. I would even go up to his assistant sub-inspector. What kind of supervision and grooming and mentoring is he doing?
And who do you think is politically accountable? The Delhi police is in that peculiar position
I
where
won't
nobody...
go this far. Sorry. I think we need to fix our... That's my habit. Bring in my responsibility of the next senior and the departmental politics. Why would politics come into this?
Because Maxwell, the Delhi police has become a battlefield actually for parties, and we've been seeing that for decades. You know, between the centre and the state, we've seen the police become a battlefield. Is that relevant at all here?
It is very relevant. It is very relevant because the Delhi police is giving a duty under very trying circumstances. Delhi is not easy for policing. At the same time, that is why I say that it is not, you know, one cannot really take it from a policeman if he loses control. As like Kiran said very rightly, that I mean, there is no place for such a person in Delhi police. But that having said, do we also, I mean, look towards what is it that makes, you know, a Delhi policeman go berserk? Why does he go berserk? What are the conditions that make him?
And what
Kiran
would you
gave
suggest?
one example saying that he is an
suggest?
habitual.
What would you suggest? What are these conditions? Are
No.
you saying we look at salaries? Are you saying look at
I would
psychological
suggest,
profile?
you know,
what are you suggesting?
Well, it is too early to speak. It is too early to speak because there is a case registered, there will be investigation, and many questions will be asked, and many questions need to be answered. And this is where, you know, we have to understand, and the politicians should listen to this very clearly. You treat a policeman, you give him powers, you treat him like a chaprasi, you treat him worse than a chaprasi, and there is no authority, there is nothing. The arrogance of authority comes through, could be out of frustration too, you know, because these are the kind of things that need to be studied properly. And why is that person who has got authority, you know, doesn't exercise it responsibly as he is required to? Because you pay him worse than a chaprasi, you pay him worse than a chaprasi?
Worse than a chaprasi.
It's very
I mean, not that a peon should not be treated with his due respect, but he's being metaphorical there, that a policeman is not treated with respect.
Varkha?
Everybody should be...
Varkha, Indian police number is 1.75 million. Present force would be 1.25 with all the vacancies. Of this 1.25, do you know which rank is what percentage? Head constable, constables comprise of 90%. 90% is this rank. Go and ask them. How are they being groomed, looked after, cared, trained, you see, or in career oriented? I think their career acceleration, I think it's a most neglected 90%.
I want to get Shazia and Sharmishta in. Is there a divide here in how the politicians and the citizens are seeing it and how the police community is seeing it? You're hearing both Kiran and Maxwell say we have to go deeper. But Sharmishta and you both feel it's about the arrogance of authority, it's about a woman standing up to that authority. So is there a disconnect here?
No, I think we have to see it holistically. I think it's really important, and these are very important questions. After all, they are the law enforcers, and you can't have rage everywhere. Day before yesterday, there was an incident of a mother telling her son to beat up. And that was a citizen doing that. So there is something going overall amiss in a society where people.
So is this road rage, or is this abuse of authority, or is this fight against corruption?
It's I think all of those, a little bit of everything, and I think it just shows a dysfunctional kind of a society where citizens get enraged, where cops misbehave. There is something going wrong which needs to be corrected on a war footing. So, and I totally agree with Kiranji when she says we really have to look at what's happening within the ranks, what kind of training, socialization is happening, and orientation of the cops, so to speak, and what kind of circumstances and stress they are in. We're so used to demonizing. One cop does it, all Delhi police is like that. One citizen does it, is Jungle Raj. So I think we need to go for deeper answers because these are very important questions.
Sharmishta, you said it's arrogance of authority. Maxwell Pereira says police officers are not treated with any respect. They're treated worse than chaprasis, to quote him.
Well, I would like to say that, you know, these kind of incidences, when you get into deeper analysis of it, it's never monocausal. It's never either all. And as Shazia ji has said, you know, these are all probably interrelated, and somewhere we definitely do need police reforms very badly. and this whole issue of sensitization, not just gender sensitization, but sensitization of people in general. And you know, you have just said, Shazia ji has just mentioned about what happened about the DTC, where the mother, for example, was encouraging the son to beat the driver, bash up. Encouraging her son to beat the driver. So, you know, what kind of, we really seriously need to introspect that as a society, what kind of value system are we passing to our children? What kind of, so many people were there as witnesses, but they never intervened to do anything. But coming back to this case, coming back to this particular case, you know, I think under no circumstances, howsoever trying the situation might be for the police cop, he just could not take a brick and just throw it at anybody.
Absolutely.
Forget about a woman.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And Maxwell Pereira, that is where what you're saying may sound like a justification, although you said in the beginning there's no justification. But when your next sentence is, look at how you treat your police, is there somewhere a kind of rationalization for bad, violent, abusive behavior?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, nobody condones bad behavior by the police or bad behavior by anyone at that thing. But then, are we also looking at the larger picture where, you know, yesterday's incident of road rage, where the people, the vigilantism comes in and they kill a person. And today, the traffic policeman gets bashed up. Yes, he has done wrong. Is there a law in this country that will really act on it? I congratulate the commissioner who has acted promptly and swiftly and exemplarily. He has given an example so that the message goes across the rank and file. At the same time, does the public also awake? You know, do they realize that yes, this law needs to be looked at in a proper manner? Their pay scales, their level of living, their hours of working. A traffic constable works no less than 14 to 18 hours a day. Why does he do that? Why is he required to do that? Does anyone look into this?
Kiran, do you want to join there, and then I'll get the last words to the politicians. Do you believe though that could explain? But we must first all say there is no justification, no matter what the provocation, even if the other person is at fault. As a police officer, you cannot pick up a brick.
Causative factor. Why has this man? Because look at the kind of pressure, the social pressure and legal pressures and the senior pressures.
Why isn't it just plain old corruption? The argument could be that hafta bana raha hai, paisa bana raha hai. Why isn't it just plain old corruption?
आदमी को isolated थोड़ी रह रहा है. इतनी ज़्यादा इसके बारे बातचीत है. इसके पास अभी भी हिम्मत कैसे हुई कि मैं अभी भी पकड़ूं एक औरत को और उसको साथ ऐसे एंगेज करूं और मैं उससे मांगूं? हिम्मत कैसे हुई? मैं तो प्रश्न करना चाहती हूं, अभी भी हिम्मत कैसे हुई? तो अगर जब तक हम ये जानेंगे नहीं, हमारा स्ट्रेटजीज कैसे बदलेंगी ट्रेनिंग की और प्रिवेंशन की? तो एज अ सीनियर वी मस्ट नो हाउ डिड ही स्टिल डेयर to question the changes.
Shazia, what does it say about the autonomy of a woman in a city, in a public space? Because you know, the autonomy to move as you want, to dress as you want, to pick up your children from school, to bring them back, to drive a two-wheeler yourself through the city. I mean, these are questions of autonomy for women.
Sure, and I think somewhere the dynamics between citizen police as well as male female, they're changing, and we saw that because somebody challenges the authority, and that's a woman. And look at the woman and look at her profile, and I'm very impressed. But of course, let's not use it to laud the gender bit here, because there is something very serious and sinister happening. So while women are doing the kind of things they do, riding a scooty, dropping the children, there is a man actually seeing her as a soft target, which is misogyny, patriarchy, corruption at its worst. So I feel,
but she's also lost her temper. She has also lost her temper.
Sure. But that does not mean that he should pick up a brick and
absolutely. There's no justification.
There's no justification whatsoever. But I feel we make every news debate, everything becomes about Congress and BJP, and I don't think it should. I think it should remain about police-citizen relationship, making it better, intra-police departmental work, all the socialization and training that is to happen, and also citizen consciousness, civic consciousness, gender consciousness. So it has to work at all levels. You know, if you ask stupid questions, you'll only get stupid answers.
Sure. Sharmishta, last thoughts?
They have to give this person an exemplary punishment to begin with. You know, because as you say that, you know, if you are holding a position of authority, you should have been far more responsible. And of course, as Kiranji and Pereira ji has suggested, You know, and I think maybe a police reform is required. Maybe there has to be an increase in the number of police force. Maybe there has to be, you know, like a hike in their pay structure.
Yeah.
So, you know, these issues the government should seriously look into, because after all, you know, like crores of rupees are being spent for the defense of the country. Yeah. And of course, that is required. That is very much required. But the safety and security of citizens within India, within the country, within its own state is also equally important.
And I just want to give 30 seconds to Maxwell and Kiran. Kiran, the question will be raised about how many police officers are used for VIP duty in Delhi. That question comes up again and again. You know the statistics vis-a-vis citizens' rights.
But Barkha, do you know, none of them have an 8-hour job. None of them, cops, 90% particularly, are entitled for a weekly off. None of them. None of them have 8 hours, none of them have weekly off. And the statistics prove that if you were to give them an 8-hour shift, and also give them a weekly off, the police strength has to go up by 148%.
That's a staggering statistic. So you mean they work how many days a week?
They work endless unless they get leave is like not a right. For policemen, leave is not a right. So that's why I want to know what kind of stress has it been.
And you leave us with very important questions. We leave it there. Kiran Bedi, Shazia Ilmi, Maxwell Pereira and Sharmishta Mukherjee. That's a staggering statistic by Kiran Bedi. It doesn't in any way condone at all what that police officer constable did today. He's been dismissed, but the family still wants him to go to jail. We'll keep a close eye on this story. Taking a quick break. On the other side, first Salman Khan, then Jayalalithaa. Is the law not blind to VIP status? That debate coming up on the other side. A big political debate on the buck stops here tonight. Amma is back, quite literally Mother's Day in Tamil Nadu, even though a day late. Celebrations, of course, have erupted across the state, with hysterical supporters now asking for Jayalalithaa to return as Chief Minister. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, was among the first to call and speak with Jayalalithaa. But the larger questions that are raised by this verdict is what the ordinary person is feeling today. First Salman Khan, now Jayalalithaa. Years for the trial and a conviction to take place, and just a matter of very little time before a higher court overturns what some believe are brave verdicts by the lower courts. Is our law treating VIPs with kid gloves? Is it the judicial system that is under question today after this verdict? And what are the political implications of the return of Jayalalithaa? Let's introduce our panel this evening. Joining us from Chennai tonight is C.R. Saraswati, the spokesperson of the AIADMK. We're also joined by actor turned politician Sarath Kumar, who's of course the leader of the AISMK and is an ally of Jayalalithaa. We're also joined by Subramaniam Swamy, BJP leader, who was, of course, the original petitioner in the disproportionate assets case, looking at Jayalalitha's first stint as Chief Minister. From the Congress, we're joined by Manishankar Iyer, senior leader of the Congress. And from Bangalore today, the man who perhaps will be very disappointed today is B.V. Acharya, public prosecutor who was trying this case, and today said that the prosecution never got an opportunity to present its case properly. I'll start with you, Subramaniam Swamy. You've already said you're shocked by the verdict. How do you explain it? Because if you go through the judgment which we have, the judge basically argues that the disproportionate percentage of Jayalalitha's income works out to a little over 8%, which he argues is within permissible limits. He makes the argument that loans were not factored in, that the revenues of companies were clubbed with the income of Jayalalithaa, that she did not spend 3 crores on her foster son's marriage and so on. How do you explain, or how do you read this judgment?
Well, the core of it is what you just started with, that it is below 10%. That is based on a judgment of 1977, but you must remember that the Prevention of Corruption Act, which was originally promulgated in 1947, was completely rewritten by Rajiv Gandhi's time, in 1988, and they introduced a number of new clauses which clearly implicate Ms. Jayalalithaa, and this 8%, 10% was never taken seriously afterwards. There was no single judgment that he was able to quote after 1988. So that is a bogus argument, in my opinion, to say that somebody is on, exceeded less than 10% of their known assets.
But he's not, the judge is not agreeing. But Dr. Swami, the judge is not agreeing with your figure of 66 crores. He's saying that the assets are about 37 crores around about.
Well, I mean, you see, the issue is whether the High Court appeal level, the judge can go into that. The judge has to see whether the judgment of the Sessions Court was based on certain solid arguments. Now, you can't just simply complain, say, no, this was not included, that was not included. I'm sorry, that's not an appeal allowed. He can certainly appreciate the evidence, and in the Supreme Court, you can only look at the law. So, I think the judge far exceeded his brief, and he's given a judgment which will definitely set aside in the Supreme Court.
And I want to explore why you think that happened in a moment from now. But obviously for you, C.R. Saraswati, this is a big day of celebration. We've seen those pictures of hysterical supporters. But when Jayalalithaa says she has emerged as tested pure gold, the rest of the country is looking at this ma'am and saying there are still unanswered questions as to how Ms. Jayalalitha's income increased from 3 crores to, even if it's 37 crores as the judge today has found her assets to be worth. That label of corruption, that perception of corruption may stick. So how do you respond to the outrage in many parts of the country over the verdict, even as there are celebrations in Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, can I?
Yes, please, ma'am.
First thing I'm telling is our leader. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Can I answer your question?
Yes, please.
See, one thing first I want to tell is our Amma is not a corrupted leader at all. She born rich. She born with a golden spoon. She was once a very big heroine. It's not that she has to come to the politics and buy the properties. No, after coming to politics, she gave herself to the people. She works for the people. She is not having a big family like others and working for the family in politics. No. She works for the people. She is not interested in anything else. Only her aim is to make the Tamil Nadu people who made her as a chief minister to take care of Tamil Nadu people. She is working each and every minute. She is not a corrupted leader. This is a false case.
Okay.
It's not a right case. It's a false case.
Let me just get Sarath Kumar to join the conversation now. How do you read the verdict today, Sarath Kumar, and how soon do you think it will be before Jayalalithaa returns as chief minister? What are the political implications of this verdict?
First of all, let me tell you that justice has prevailed in this case, and the reversal of the judgment from the Sessions Court to the High Court now. Well, we should appreciate that. We should appreciate the system. We should abide by the laws of the land, and the court, one court, Sessions Court has said she's guilty. The High Court has said she's not guilty. Maybe like my good friend Mr. Subramanian says, that of course the Supreme Court will set aside the judgment, but that is for us to later on look into all these things. But I think the prima facie case here is the disproportionate wealth. Well, I think Madam Jayalalithaa has already appealed to her representatives to the IT department, the tribunal also. It was set aside, and she had given very clear reasons. And what are the reasons? The income tax department should have pulled her up, but they have given a very clean chit as for expenditure and income was that was overlooked by the trial court, and that is what has been reversed in the judgment today, and that she has been totally acquitted of corruption charges. Okay. This case cannot be a case of corruption. She was already, like C.R. Saraswati said, she has been acting in film, she has been made money.
Mr. Subramanian Swami is wanting to make a point to you. Subramanian Swami, go ahead. To Sarath Kumar.
Yes, Mr. Swami.
Well, you see, it appears that he doesn't know the income tax law. I'm sorry that this is a question of compounding. Compounding means accepting your guilt. And the order of the income tax authorities says that since she has accepted it, she has paid the fine, and she paid the amount which we claimed without question. Therefore, we are closing the case. And I argued this also in the Karnataka High Court, and the lawyers of the Ms. Jayalalithaa didn't answer it because they couldn't. There's nothing to answer. It's all in documentation. So this is another one of those canards, like the question that she was a rich woman when she came into politics.
Rubbish. That's what Saraswati said. That's what C.R. said, that she was an actress. She already had
I have filed her letters. I filed a letter she wrote to MGR and Ramachandra Vodiyar.
I think we are going beside the point that Barka had opened the debate, the thing of the judicial system. I think the conversation here was talking about the judicial system when the trial court gives a conviction and then the High Court sets it aside. So that is exactly what Barka was trying to tell you. I think we are debating on that subject and not the prima facie of the case, whether the IT department, whether I know the tax rules and regulations of the taxation and things that doesn't matter here.
Okay.
Here she has been acquitted very clearly. A clean sheet has been given.
You don't know what
and now the Barka's initial question of whether the judicial system has to be looked into.
She's a regular taxpayer. She's a regular taxpayer.
One minute. I want to come to the political question, Mr.
She's a regular
Sarath Kumar.
taxpayer.
One minute. The
Yes,
question, Mr. Sarath Kumar, is this: that is there a perception among ordinary people that the law is different? If you look at the fact that it took an 18-year trial, she did only 21 days of bail. By contrast, there are 2.5 lakh under trials in India today. The perception is building up, Mr. Sarath Kumar, that the law is different for VVIPs.
Well, that you could say that, but the law has to be the same. It is not for the individual to go and claim on it. If I'm charged of a crime and if the law takes a quicker time and finishes my case, my appeal or my case, my trial, it is not me, the system. I think here we should look at the entire system as such and let us improve the system that every citizen is treated equal and the cases are taken up on priorities and finished. So how can you blame that on a VVIP's case? Even in Salmanji's case, whether they were given a faster thing, I would ask, why did the court extend 2.5 hours? They could have finished the court time by 5 o'clock. It is not Salmanji who requested the court to extend the time to 7.5 hours, till 7:30.
Yes.
So I think we have to look into the entire system and tighten up our judicial system. I am nobody to talk about the judicial system of the country, but every person has got equal right. Every citizen has to be equal. I think the case is to be taken on priority, on the merits of the case should be taken up, and I think we have to relook into the system and the judicial system. That is what I would like to say.
The fact is that every person is not equal, because you cannot get expedited bail hearings to begin with. Now, Manishankar Iyer, the politics of this. The fact of the matter is that whether or not Subramaniam Swamy or you say that Jayalalithaa is corrupt, she has swept all the elections, even the Lok Sabha elections, winning 37 out of 39 seats. So how do parties that called her corrupt deal with that political reality, and how does that politics get impacted today? The Prime Minister was among the first to reach out to her today.
The Prime Minister is welcome to do what he wants. People do like people who are like themselves. As far as
what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? There's no corruption case against Narendra Modi. What are you trying to say?
No, but there is a very, very major charge of what happened in 2002.
But no legal charge.
In any case,
that political debate may continue, but there's no legal charge. There's no trial in court. It's not a comparable example.
There may not be a legal charge, but there is a political. There is a political charge. There is a moral charge, and he will not be able to escape from it so easily. As far as I'm concerned, she was not swept into power in 2011. She won because there was there was either in 2011 or 14, because there was such division in the ranks opposite her that perhaps the political consequence of this decision will be that the non-AIADMK parties of Tamil Nadu will get together and go back to the situation which obtained in 2004, in 2006 and in 2011, 2014.
No, I don't agree with the point, but I don't agree with the point.
That way, we will be able to tackle this matter politically. As far as the judicial process is concerned, it would be churlish to object at this stage, but I expect that Dr. Subramaniam Swamy will be taking the matter up to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So that the word of the High Court is not the last word.
But I want to get in Dr. Swamy in on this political paradox, and then I'll go to Mr. Acharya, the public prosecutor. Dr. Swamy, you may appeal, if I've understood correctly, against that verdict. Is that correct? Will you be appealing? Will you be going to the Supreme Court?
Yes, I get a authority to appeal if the Karnataka government or the Tamil Nadu government doesn't appeal.
Yes.
Since I'm a complainant. So I'll have to wait to find out what the Karnataka government does.
Now, are you out of sync, Dr. Swamy, with your party? Because your party probably needs the 11 MPs of the AIADMK, especially in the Rajya Sabha, where you don't have a majority. You have crucial bills pending, the GST, the land bill. The Prime Minister has already spoken with Jayalalithaa. They've shared a good personal rapport, as you know. Is your party backing your move to appeal against the Jayalalithaa verdict?
No, there is no question of this party question here. We see, in the floor management, we even talked to Mulayam Singh Yadav and Mayawati and so on. That doesn't mean anything. The question is whether we will have an alliance with her. That will have to come before the National Executive, of which I am a member, and I'll certainly oppose it. And I think the broad masses of our party and the cadre and the Sangha Parivar is totally against alliance with any of these so-called Dravidian parties.
Okay, I want to just get a comment from Mr. Acharya, the public prosecutor. Mr. Acharya, today you made a statement saying the prosecution did not get an opportunity to present its case properly. What did you mean by that, and how do you read the verdict? Why has the judge decided the way he has?
You see, the point is, when the appeals were heard for more than 2 months, it is only the senior counsel for all the 4 accused who addressed arguments for 4 months, for 2 months.
Yes.
Thereafter, for 4 or 5 days, Mr. Bhavani Singh, the former public prosecutor, appointed by DVAC Tamil Nadu,
yes,
he appears to have made some submissions, mainly reading out some depositions. And then he submitted a written submission.
Okay.
Thereafter, the case was reserved for judgment.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, appointment of Bhavani Singh as public prosecutor was the subject matter of writ petition. And though the High Court of Karnataka, both single judge and division bench held that he could be.
But Mr. Acharya, what is your larger point? What is your larger point? What is your larger point? You've seen the judgment. The judge says you clubbed company income with personal income. She did not spend 3 crores on her son's wedding. You didn't factor in loans. I mean, it's a very detailed judgment. So this is a technicality you're arguing on.
Regarding the detailed, no, I am arguing on the technicality that we had no opportunity to explain. You see, whatever be the reasons on which the court is going to reverse the order.
Yes.
I was appointed as public prosecutor only on 27th of April, when the Supreme Court decided that the previous public prosecutor is not validly appointed.
Okay.
So then the Supreme Court said within 1 day Karnataka government should file written submission, and Karnataka government will not have opportunity to orally argue the matter.
Okay, understood your point. You're basically saying you were appointed so late, you were brought in as public prosecutor so late in the game, you did not have time to make those submissions. Now I want to go back to the politics. Let's go back to C.R. Saraswati. You heard what Dr. Swamy said, you heard what Manishankar Iyer said. Yeah. What will be your response in Parliament, or is it too early for that? What's the word you've got from your leader, Jayalalithaa?
Can I ask one question to Mr. Manishankar Iyer, if you don't mind?
Please.
There is no rights Congress to talk about corruption, because the whole corruption in the last 10 years DMK Congress period, the whole world knows what all the corruption happened. Like 2G scan, coal mine which was in former Prime Minister's department, so much of corruptions there in Congress period. How can they ask? See, this is not a corrupted case at all. Everybody knows what happened, and Amma said, I will see this case in the court and I will win. She has won. The judge, see, the justice has won. That's all. There is no any beyond the justice, nothing has happened. Our Amma faced so many problems in her life, but she will fight and fight and fight, and again she will come up. She is like a phoenix bird. Only the opposition parties are making a big scenes and creating a big scenes and talking lot of things, but nothing. See, people are with Amma. Definitely next election, Amma will be the chief minister again, and we pray God, even in future she may come to India rule also. Such a brave leader, she's a role model for everybody.
You're saying she may become a national leader. You're saying, Saraswati ji, that she may become a national leader.
Yeah, we pray God, we pray God.
Okay.
We pray God.
Okay.
Definitely
Now,
it will happen.
Okay, now Sarath Kumar, before I get Mani and Subramaniam Swamy to respond to that, you know, the posters that have come up in Tamil Nadu, people have immolated themselves. Jayalalithaa is talking about, having come out now like tested gold, pure as gold. I mean, isn't this a kind of sycophancy, a kind of mass hysteria? There are posters saying a mere man cannot pass a judgment on a goddess. You know, this is very odd for the rest of the country to understand this kind of hysteria.
See, you are talking about psychophancy. Let us say the cadres of AIDMK and the people of Tamil Nadu who have got a lot of respect and a belief in the rule of AIDMK and Madam Jayalalithaa, I think they will go to any extent. Like I would say, as an actor or as an actor Salman Khan, anybody as an actor, they are looked into, they are looked towards to. I think in this case, you know, they admire her, they have been with her, they have been traveling with her, and when there's a judgment passed, they make remarks which, of course, against the judgment, when they say something, we of course say judicial sub judice matter, we shouldn't talk about the court's decision and things like that. That is euphoria and the jubilation that they are exhibiting. I think now what has happened right now, the reversal, and once again let me talk to our learned friend Manishankar, who said when Madam Jayalalithaa won the election again in 2000, after DMK's rule after 2001,
yes,
when she came back to power, he said it is because of the incompetency of the others. It is not the incompetence of the DMK or the Congress. It is once again she had, you know, a clear mandate. She has won the elections. And again in the recent election and member of the parliament election, again she has come up with 37 seats. I think the people have got a lot of confidence in her that she has come back. And basically the prima facie case, it's not a corruption case. The disproportionate case has been very clearly set aside. And my learned friend Mr. Swami also.
But Sarath Kumarji, there is still the question
stated that it is not IT case. The fine was paid. But they had very clearly, the tribunal has set aside that. And now the case, even the conspiracy does not work over here. And it's a very clear-cut case. And Acharya should have taken time to argue his, as a public prosecutor. He should have taken time if he wanted to. Now that it is over,
now that
he's acquitted of all the charges, let us talk about the system. Then why she was acquitted.
Okay, Manishankar Iyer, you are hearing what the supporters of Jayalalithaa are saying. Who is the Congress to talk about corruption? You got booted out because of corruption. The fact of the matter is that neither the Congress, which is wiped out in Tamil Nadu, nor the BJP is able to make an effective political argument in Tamil Nadu against Jayalalithaa.
Let the BJP do whatever it wants. Its position is even weaker than that of the Congress. The point is that Jayalalithaa has no monopoly over fight. We too know how to fight. And these are arguments which we will undertake in the political arena. The arithmetic of the elections in Tamil Nadu shows that if the non-AIADMK forces get together, they can defeat the AIADMK. So that is the solitary objective which we will have in the political arena. Meanwhile, I trust the Supreme Court will reverse what appears to me to be an extremely perverse judgment of the High Court. It's extraordinary that our judicial system works in this way.
But that's the way it works. Is always, you know, like when it suits them, they will have an alliance with somebody. When it suits them, they'll get out of the alliance. I don't think, you know, all the persons who are opposed to AIADMK is going to the forces are going to join together. Mr. Vijayakant says he wants to become the chief minister, and Stalin wants to become the chief minister. Anbumani Ramadas wants to become the chief minister, and every other person in the, even the Tamil Sai Soundarajan wants to become the chief minister, Ilongon wants to become the chief minister, G.K. Vasan wants to become the chief minister. You might say all these forces are going to get together and fight Madam Jayalalithaa.
That's a good point. That's a good point about the divided opposition. But Dr. Swami, Manishankar Iyer says the judgment is perverse. Is that an adjective that you would share, and in that case, aren't both of you casting an aspersion on the judge? I mean, that could land you in contempt of court.
No, you don't understand contempt of court. Contempt of court, I have to say he has taken money, or that he has done it because he has got a favor or something like that.
No, I don't
but to say a judgment is perverse, which I am
talking about the judiciary system.
Once again, let Dr. Swami make his point. Dr. Swami.
All right. So it's not a contempt of court. It's he can use his English and I'll use mine. Mine is that it's a judgment which has no basis at all. And he's relied on one single judgment of 1977 to say that yes, she has disproportionate assets, but it's less than 10%. That's the core of his argument, which is ridiculous. It will be laughed out in Supreme Court, in my opinion. The issue, therefore, is that it's not the first time Jayalalithaa has won a case and there have been celebrations in the streets and then she lost the elections. Take, for instance, the Tansi case or the Jaya publication case. She was acquitted by the Supreme Court after having lost in the High Court and the Sessions Court. And a year later, there was elections in 2006 and she lost it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the people of Tamil Nadu are going to be influenced just by a court decision. They'll have to see what the ground level corruption is, which is enormous.
Okay, I just want either Saraswati or Sarath Kumar to answer one question. In the public imagination, questions will still be asked about the 10,000 saris and the 750 shoes and the 28 kilos of gold. So, Saraswati ji, how will you address that? Or Sarath Kumar, which one of you is answering? Okay, Sarath Kumar. Okay, Saraswati.
I am also an actress. Yeah. First, I am also an actress. Mr. Sharath Sir also is a hero.
Yes.
When we go for shootings, all the producers buy clothes for us. I'd say one thing, ordinary family ladies, if you go and see in a house, they're having hundreds of saris and hundreds of chappals. Do you think you want to count this all in this? And being such a big leader, such a big heroine, what is this? Silly questions. Having saris in a house, having slippers in a house.
But 10,000
you know what the gold rate when Amma was a heroine?
10,000 saris. 10,000 saris.
See, do you think that time DMK, do you think who went and saw 10,000 saris? DMK went inside. They made Amma to be in the jail. They went inside. Who knows what happened?
Okay.
And those days, I'm telling you, when Amma was a heroine, what's the price of the gold? Just 400 rupees for 8 grams, that's all. And she was charging lakhs and lakhs for a picture. She acted more than 200 films in all the languages.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. The final word,
what is the price today? What is the price those days?
For the moment, Jayalalithaa is set to return as Chief Minister. The Supreme Court will have the last word, of course, on her political and legal fate. But at the moment, a day of big celebrations for Jayalalithaa. The political game becoming even more interesting. The Prime Minister already speaking with Jayalalithaa, but Subramaniam Swamy of the BJP saying he's headed to the Supreme Court against that Karnataka High Court verdict. Manishankar Iyer, Subramaniam Swamy, C.R. Saraswati, and of course, Sarath Kumar and B.V. Acharya, thank you so much for joining us on the Bus.
Thank you, Barka. Thank you.